Published 1510 EDT, the 14th of October 2017. Updated 1510 EDT, the 14th of October 2017. Arron Banks, the bad boy of Brexit, notorious for putting millions of pounds of his own money behind Nigel Farage, thinks he is poised to make another fortune from a new diamond venture. Pinning down Banks, insurance entrepreneur and UKIP donor extraordinaire, is a complicated dance. Our interview finally happens after months of negotiation and the cancelling of a planned meeting that had been arranged in a Mayfair private members club when he was held up in traffic. When he finally talks, he is as keen to hold forth about his new venture into sparklers in Lesotho as about Brexit, or the insurance business that is the source of his supposedly vast personal wealth. Arron Banks, the bad boy of Brexit, notorious for putting millions of pounds of his own money behind Nigel Farage, thinks he is poised to make another fortune from a new diamond venture. The complexities of his business empire led his critics during the Brexit battle to speculate that he is not as rich as he seems, and that his finances are altogether too mysterious for his own good. But perhaps it's understandable that he is preoccupied with gemstones, because he believes his geologists have made an exciting discovery and that he will soon be turning up huge diamonds in the dust. He owns the rights to the alluvial gravel in a dried-up riverbed near one of the biggest diamond mines in Lesotho. We had a geologist come to us with a theory that the river leading from this mine had whole big diamonds. The geologist had a closer look and, Banks claims, said they are diamond-bearing gravels, where he could expect to find some big stones. That's a bit of a game-changer, he says. In talks, Nigel Farage received powerful support from Banks. If he's right, and the city is littered with failed diamond enterprises over the years, then he really would become fabulously stashed. There's barely enough time for your eyebrows to hit the roof before we are on to our next topic: how he has become a hate figure for Remainers. He says his long-running political notoriety has surprised him. In my mind, I went into the referendum to help Nigel Farage, to help win, and then I thought it would just kind of stop. But obviously with the Trump thing and everything else, it's just carried on. I said to Nigel the other day, clearly we hurt a lot of people very badly. Some of the politicians I've met, they're expecting the devil incarnate, and I actually get on very well with them. He professes to be amazed at how long Brexit has remained as a topic of discussion. He thinks it has become somewhat tedious. We just need to leave and get on with it. Even Remainers might concede grudgingly that Farage and Banks have made a formidable political team in recent years. The pair worked in the city at the same time and favored all the same restaurants and bars. I never knowingly met him. At that time, there were huge numbers of characters in the market, so Nigel wouldn't have been uncommon. There was a hatful of people like Farage, but Simpson's Tavern, in the city, was our favorite place to go for lunch. And I know it's his favorite place, he says. Banks claims he is actually very quiet and calm, a suggestion that will surprise many. Banks says Simpson's Tavern, in the city, is one of his favorite places to go for lunch. Has just had one of his many spats on Twitter, this time with a journalist who claimed sensible Tories are now in the ascendancy in government following a softening of the UK's hardline Brexit stance. Banks takes issue with any idea that the Tories in question are sensible, or that's the polite way of putting it. His response to the journalist was slightly more concise. In fact, he tweeted just one word: TW. He giggles at his own rudeness. I stand by that comment 100%, he says, before adding that he knows his adversary and that really it was just friendly banter. He's very aware that his Sulphur Rose reputation precedes him. Warren Buffett is a bit of a hero of mine. If you're involved in business in any way, you should read all of his annual reports right back to day one. They're a masterclass. Some of the politicians I've met, they're expecting the devil incarnate, and I actually get on very well with them. But some of them come looking for fights and I never disoblige. There is certainly some dispute about his real wealth, or lack of it. Banks, 51, who lives with his Russian wife Katya, 44, in the West Country, owns an impressive pile near Bristol, Old Down Manor, but, according to the Financial Times, he doesn't actually live there, but hires it out as a wedding venue, residing in a modest farmhouse nearby. Some say he's worth £250 million, others that his fortune is all smoke and mirrors, and that his company accounts show him constantly shifting money from one pocket to another. His finances, which were put under scrutiny because of his role in the Brexit campaign, are likely to come into the spotlight again because he is planning a stock market listing for Arron, an insurance broking business which owns the Go Skippy brand, possibly in the new year. He owns 90% of it. That puts him on course for a £250 million float. But the float has been rumored for a while, so the city is not holding its breath. Banks owns the rights to the alluvial gravel in a dried-up riverbed near one of the biggest diamond mines in Lesotho. Banks' diamond venture may be speculative, but he does have solid insurance credentials stretching back more than 20 years, including stints working in the Lloyd's market and for the UK insurance ventures of Warren Buffett, the legendary US investor, so it's hard to write him off completely. He's a bit of a hero of mine, he says of Buffett. If you're involved in business in any way, you should read all of his annual reports right back to day one. They're a masterclass, he says. Does he ever wake up and wonder, am I really worth £250 million? I don't get up and ever think about it. People that do that don't become wealthy. You become wealthy because you've got a passion for what you do. It seems that Banks has a way to go before emulating Buffett and expressing his views elegantly in an annual report. For the moment, he is sticking to Twitter. What I quite like is trying to get your message into a small space. He giggles yet again before adding, nothing says it better than just saying TW.